Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 41, and it's 41 to 45. Contents of the Gita summarized. So I'll read the Sanskrit. If you know it, you can join in with it. It's a famous one. Vyavasyatmaka buddhir Vyavasyatmaka buddhir Ekeha kurunandana Bahu shakka hyanantascha Buddhayo vyavasayanam Vyavasyatmaka buddhir.
Which chapter? Two texts, 41.
41, yeah. Ekeha kurunandana Bahu shakka hyanantascha Buddhayo vyavasayanam. Last time. Vyavasyatmaka buddhir Ekeha kurunandana Bahu shakka hyanantascha Buddhayo vyavasayanam. Don't normally do the synonyms, but I think I will for this one. Vyavasaya atmika, resolute in Krishna consciousness. Buddhi, intelligence. Eka, only one. Iha, in this world. Kurunandana, O beloved child of the Kurus. Bahushaka, having various branches. He, indeed. Ananta, unlimited. Cha, also. Buddhaya, intelligence. Vyasyatma. Actually, I didn't pronounce it right. Vyavasayanam. Of those who are not in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so the translation. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So I'm going to read some of the purport and make some comments as we go along, so we can follow. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmaka intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22, 62, states, Shraddha Shabde Vishwaskahe Sudridha Nischaya Krishna Bhakti Kala Sarva Karma Kritahai. Sorry, I was doing the wrong verse there, but I heard the wrong meter. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruit of action activities are the engagements of one's reactions from good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, All activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. That means that such a person is very rare. A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. And by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches. So by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayers for the spiritual master as follows: Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada yasya prasada nagati kutopi dayam stuvam stasyaya shastri sangam vande guru shri charanaravinda. By satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on the perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body, not theoretically but practically, when there is no longer a chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities. One who is firmly fixed in mind is diverted, who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. There are many different levels going on in this verse. The first thing I wanted to say is that this was a verse which actually changed Srila Prabhupada's life in that sense. He said that this was a verse which completely, and he says it in the purport. One should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. So he took that completely on board when he took the instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And you know, it's like basically what the verse is saying, that those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. And the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So I think really what Prabhupada is getting at is the fact that you can become irresolute when you're acting with the impure in mind or intelligence of enjoying, the enjoying propensity. It is kind of probably the most it's probably the most difficult thing to clear from one's consciousness, because there's so many multitudes of ways in which we try to enjoy, even from moment to moment. When we're chanting in the morning time early, it's kind of good to see, sometimes examine where the mind goes. You know, it's better that we don't do that. It's better that just the mind is concentrating on Krishna. But when it's not, it's interesting to see what our subtle, how would you call it, conditioning, but our mind, intelligence, and false ego, especially our false ego, what it is engaged in. Generally, it's engaged in, I want to be the center. That's the unfortunate thing. What it is engaged in. Excuse me. I'm trying to be the center of everything. You know. We can be subtle about it. There's all subtle ways in which we do that, but it's the same thing. So that means that I want to enjoy my senses. You know, I want to be the controller. Again, it's kind of subtle. It's not that we want to be the president of the country or well, we might, but you know, it's not that we want to be the prime minister, the boss. You know, we may be quite happy in our particular situation, but generally, the idea is that we are there trying to enjoy. Now, that's not to negate that we are persons. So as persons, we do have, you know, desires. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Krishna has made us that way, that we are persons and that we have desires as well. Because Krishna has, so we have. But the idea is that the desires that we have are there to be used in relationship to Krishna. That's what the desires are there for. That's when we can be at our most happiest. That's when we can be actually fully happy. And we can be fully happy when Krishna's fully happy. And we can be fully happy when we're trying to please Krishna. So what Prabhupada is saying there in the purport as well is that we may not always be able to see Krishna or be kind of aware of Krishna all the time. But we have a spiritual master as well in that way, that we can please the spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada, he really took that to the limit, as we were hearing yesterday. He wanted to please Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to the degree that when he was 70 years old, he was prepared to jump on a ship, and not even a plane, but a ship. Not even a normal ship, but a cargo ship, which is very basic ship, and go across the ocean, having heart attacks along the way. And he didn't know whether he would be successful or not. He had no money, basically, absolutely no money. One contact, which he knew for, you know, he never met before, but it was just based on a friend of a friend that he was going to stay with them for a month. And they thought he was just coming here maybe just to present his books and to go back home. But he was coming over to try to start a world movement, you know, to change people whose habits were completely immersed in sense gratification, you know, had no interest in anything spiritual. But he was there to try to change that, because that's what his spiritual master wanted. So therefore, even at the age of 70, he never gave up. He was thinking all the time of how to achieve that instruction. So therefore, when we hear this verse, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. So their aim is one means that it's in the parampara, that we're trying to please the parampara, starting with Krishna Bhakti, starting with sort of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, you know, going all the way back to Krishna, you know, to Lord Chaitanya, all the way back to Krishna. And the representatives of Krishna are in parampara that we can see. And so that makes it a little bit more easy. And we see that to please Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 2:69 and 70, it talks about how to please Krishna. We please Krishna by telling others about Krishna, but obviously by understanding Krishna ourselves first. And the methods of doing that are clearly spoken of in all the scriptures. The 9 processes of bhakti, starting from hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, becoming a friend, performing deity worship, completely surrendering, being a servant. That's 8 out of 9, but I'm sure that's very. You can take any one of those, or all of them, but the most important is in hearing and chanting. And when we start to do that, and we do that on a regular basis, consistently, and we do it with full consciousness, then that actually makes us more qualified to become purified, to see Krishna. But even to see Krishna, but even to see our spiritual master, do you know? And to hear a spiritual master, because basically what's been spoken about in the text here is that Krishna is behind everything. You know, everything is coming from Krishna. So we have to see Krishna as the basis of everything. And that is like, that could take a whole lifetime, you know. That's like, there's one sentence in this purport which talks about that Krishna is the center of everything, you know, and we should spend our time trying to see Krishna in everything. But that could take our whole lifetime, from now until the time we leave our bodies, you know, to get that actual understanding, you know. So, but that is, that's the only thing that's worth doing in this world, you know. It's nothing else is actually, you know, everything else can be a distraction. As it said, those who are the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So therefore, there's so much talking goes on. There's a whole purport one in the first canto in the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada talks about questions and answers. And he talks about that everybody's asking questions, everyone's looking for answers. Like in the newspapers, in the courts, you know, when you go to a court, somebody's on the witness stand and they're asking all these questions. So they're trying to establish the truth. What, did he kill this, or did he steal this, or did he do this, or did he do that? This literally, if you go down to the forecourts down there, sometimes you'll see the barristers going, and they have this big whole file that they're going into the court with, which they're going to, you know, this is all the basis of so many questions and answers. And then if you go to the court, to their offices, you know, they're full. They're actually literally full. Maybe not so much anymore because it's more digital, but previously they used to have vaults upon vaults upon vaults. And there was a famous writer in the last century called Charles Dickens. Has anyone ever heard of Charles Dickens? Charles Dickens was a famous writer, and but he used to talk about the life in England in the 1830s, 40s, 50s. And it was a time when there was all of these kind of, this bureaucracy was starting. And there's a famous story of what, I forget, I think it's called Pickwick Papers, I'm not absolutely sure, but there's this person, and he's a lawyer, and his whole house is fully surrounded by files, after literally pages and pages and books, and he's only got a little place, you know. So, you know, and this is all about asking questions and answers, you know. This is all the result of this. So that the whole world is asking questions and answers. The Houses of Parliament are asking questions and answers. The Dublin City Council is full of questions and answers. And all of those questions and answers are useless, you know. You know, there may be, you may be able to kind of take some value from them, but in the ultimate issue, they're not telling us how to go back to the spiritual dimension. None of those questions and answers are doing that. But yet, we spend 99.99% of our time in those questions and answers. You know, it is outrageous, and it's getting worse. Because what happens with bureaucracy is that bureaucracy, what it does is it ties people down to rules and regulations because people are totally dishonest in general. So there's all these checks and balances going on ad nauseum. And so people, instead of the laws are meant to help the people end up serving all these pointless laws, you know, and then they lose their humanity. They spend, how many hours of a week do we work? You know, So much of our week is spent working. And what do? We work 48 hours, 48 weeks a year so we can get 4 weeks holidays. Do you know? I mean, it's
4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah. You're legally entitled to 28 days off in a year. You know, that's the legal entitlement.
21.
Is it 21?
21.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow, even worse.
Should have been teachers.
What's
Should have been teachers.
Yeah, I know. So everybody becomes a teacher. But that's what happens. We don't ask the questions about the right things, do you know? And these are the questions we should be asking. Now, the Vedic system was set up, the Varnashram system was set up in such a way that it recognizes we do have to live in the world. You know, we've come here. You know, we made the choice to come here. But it kind of trains us how to live here by training us very early on, from 0 to 25, how to find out what the goal of life is. That's the whole idea of Gurukul, basically, so that one could learn that, oh my God, this place, what's happening here, what should I do, how do I act? So that was meant to have as a total training on how to act in this world. Then 25 to 50, one generally enters into household life, you know, whereby, you know, we enact, in a sense you could say we're enacting our previous desires, or I don't know which way you want to put it, but I'll just park that for a moment. But from 25 to 50, we live kind of in a normal, we have to make money, we have to have a job, we have to have a house, we have children. We kind of live also in a renounced way, though. It's done in a renounced way. Then supposedly from 50 to 75, then we take the time to realize, you know, I'm meant to leave. I'm not meant to be here. I'm meant to leave here as soon as possible. So I'm meant to take my time to study then how to leave this place. And then 75 to 100, we just meditate on that completely, you know. It's kind of like a stage. Now, we may not get that far, and it may not exactly work out that way, especially with the crazy systems that are involved in life today, you know, in which you're kind of always entangled. But Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is meant to give us the strength to break out of those shackles, you know, of the material world. The main shackles that are happening to us are coming from previous conditioning from previous lifetimes. And they're subtly and constantly coming up and dictating how we act. You know, they're dictating lust, anger, greed, delusion, madness, envy. Because we're not pure, those things are subtly coming up. As we practice spiritual life, we try to give up the 4 basic sinful activities, no meat eating, gambling, illicit sex and intoxication. And we try to chant 16 rounds, a couple of hours Maha Mantra every day, or at least a fixed amount, and if we can't do that full amount, do a fixed amount. And that purifies us, and it immunizes us to a large degree against the laws of karma, you know, just enacting themselves through us. But most importantly, we do it by acting to serve Krishna, to make Krishna happy. Because remember, this is where I'm coming from again. We're here. We've got our own desires, but we're here because we want to use those desires to please Krishna, not to please ourselves. Do you know what I'm saying there? The desires that we have are meant to please Krishna, to please our spiritual master, and thereby pleasing Krishna. And when we do that, then that neutralizes the karma which normally appears in us to please our own senses. Like the tendency in the world here is that we want to please our own senses. We just want to be, and then what we do then is we subtly create our next entanglement in another body. I know some of these phrases might be a little difficult to get, but we're subtly creating our next list of entanglements, basically, in this life. But when we act in Krishna consciousness, then we stop that happening. And then at the same time, we're pleasing our spiritual master, and we're pleasing Krishna. You know? And Krishna then is happy, and the spiritual master is happy, and Krishna is happy. Do you know? And then we actually start to experience happiness ourselves, real happiness. And from that happiness, we actually also then become peaceful. We actually become peaceful, you know. We become less thrown around by the modes of nature. Now the modes of nature are coming from Krishna as well, so they're very powerful. 7:14 in Bhagavad Gita. They're very powerful. And it's not easy not to be thrown around by them. You know, when you get up in the morning and suddenly, oh my God, I feel like I'm still asleep. Or, you know, I wake up in the morning, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to, you know. Or we might wake up, yes, life is wonderful, I can just chant and everything is fantastic. So the modes, we don't know what's going to occur in the morning time. We can, you know, but if we have a set routine, and we've been practicing that routine for a while, then we are in a very good state to deal with what happens during the day. And we're in a very good state then to please our spiritual master and to please Krishna. So that is the benefit. That is that's the gold. You know, that's the gold standard. It means that we're not attracted to gold itself, you know, because all of these desires are actually coming from those original desires to please Krishna, because that's where our ultimate feeling of happiness is, do you know? But we kind of think that if there's, for instance, everyone could just meditate for a moment. Just say tomorrow morning there's an extra 50 grand in your bank account. 50,000. Would that? What do you think? I'm sorry. 100 grand. Sorry, 100 grand. If there's another 100 grand in your bank account in the morning, you know, would you feel pretty good about it, wouldn't you? You know. Yeah. You kind of think, well, we'll say now, yes, I could use that for Krishna. But anyway, we'll say that, you know, we may not be that pure, but you know, that is an actual positive feeling. But that multiplied by 1 million or unlimitedly is the feeling you have when you're in connection with Krishna. Do you know? That feeling is, you know, is absolutely this powerful feeling of being in touch with Krishna. And that is kind of constantly increasing, you know. Even when you put your money in the bank, you only get 2% or 3% or whatever. But when you're connecting with Krishna, it's unlimitedly. It's actually constantly increased. That's the nature of the spiritual world. That's the type of the place that we're talking about. And that's what's spoken about constantly in the scriptures. About, okay, Hare Krishna. Hey, stop! You're disturbing the class. I'm only joking. But that is the actual powerful effect that this Krishna consciousness can actually bring to us, you know. And we get glimpses of that. And that's what Prabhupada is saying in this incredible verse. Vyavasyatmaka bhutir ikeha kurunandana bahushaka yanantascha bhutayu vyavasayanam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So what I wanted to describe there was the many-branched discussions and talks and so on that go on in the world that we can become attracted to, or becoming news, sport. You know, I can go on ad infinitum. We all have that kind of attraction for these things. The men tend to be more interested in sporting things, whereas the ladies often are interested in soaps, dramas, you know, books, you know, this kind of tendency to be involved in Gramya Kata, it's called useless talk, actually. That's the that's the but we have this tendency, but the whole idea is to become absorbed in Krishna Kata. And and I've said this on several occasions before, the more that we get involved in speaking like this in Krishna consciousness, the more that we will become attached to Krishna, and the more we will become detached from anything which takes the mind away from Krishna. Okay, I just want to stop there. Is there any comments? Anyone would like to add anything? Any discussion points? Or I can go on to the next verse.
I have a potentially silly question.
They're usually good ones.
So, how do we know when we act in a selfless way, and when we actually, even though the action may appear selfless, we actually receive some sort of gratification from that particular action?
Yeah.
Let's say volunteering, for
Yeah.
example, or giving yoga classes without asking for money.
Yeah.
Right? It seems to be a selfless
Yeah.
action. However, the fact that I feel gratified from that thing would
Yeah.
qualify the action as a selfless action, or?
Think that's a very good question. As I was saying, that there is a feelings of peacefulness and satisfaction it's very deep when we perform service which is pleasing to Krishna, to the spiritual master and Krishna. So the fact that that's there is some indication, and that don't want to jump ahead here, but I'd also the activity itself. Oh yeah, and Prabhupada says it here, is that it's important that we, in our activities, that we do get verification, I would say, from your spiritual guide, that the activity is good. Now you can't always get that, and you're also, you have to use your own intuition as well, but because the super soul is there, the super soul within, super soul without. But it's also very good to get it confirmed, as because what Prabhupada says here, by the spiritual guide. And the activity which definitely pleases Krishna the most, and the most selfless activity, is to share Krishna consciousness with others. That's definitely, it says it in Bhagavad Gita itself very clearly. So in your yoga classes, make sure you chant, ever get everyone to chant Hare Krishna at the end, because the yogas, they are good in themselves, no doubt about that, and that's when you can add those elements of bhakti, not that you kind of do it in whatever way. Everyone kind of becomes expert at how to share things like that anyway. But when you share bhakti, because Krishna is pleased, you automatically will feel very enlivened as well. In my little experience here in this whole material world, I've found that there's no greater happiness than that sharing of Krishna consciousness with others. I just don't. I've never tasted anything which even comes remotely like it, because Krishna is absolutely pleased when that happens, and because it's the whole reason for this material world, because that's what Krishna himself may not, but he will come himself, or he will send his representatives, or he'll empower his representative servants in that sense. So we're part of this line of why Krishna created the world, and so that those feelings are definitely there. I'd also say that a lot of our spiritual guides at the moment are from our spiritual masters, because the material world is and people in the material world world are so confused at the moment in so many different ways in which they think they can understand God, that sometimes we, you know, we have to be very expert at bringing people in, and so we may use different methods that they find good in the beginning. It's like giving medicine, but it's like you kind of put sweet on the medicine, you know, and you know, so they take that, but they take the medicine as well. So we can become very expert. I've seen that with a lot of spiritual masters, and at the moment, that's the way that they, because people are very confused about what you know, what spiritual life is, that there is many ways in which you can actually bring people, and so. But that whole idea of pleasing the spiritual master, which Prabhupada talks about here, is very much as part of this whole becoming connected with the Parampara, being connected ultimately with Krishna and Krishna's purpose in this world. You know, but it's a very good question and comment. Thank you. So any other comments, or anyone else like to add? Nick, do you have anything? Okay.
One purpose or one path.
Yeah.
That's Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. Because.
That
was that?
So I think that probably came up. Which was
Yeah.
your aim is one.
Yeah.
The aim is Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
The way to get out of that is four-rated principles and chanting
Yeah.
and association.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But as I was just saying as well, like just that idea of seeing Krishna behind everything, that's that's what the vision is in that sense, and to the degree that we understand that Krishna is everything, then that's the sense that we're also one in that sense. But as I was trying to make out there, that because we have other motivations sometimes in there which are we're not purified from, so therefore we perform, as you said, sadhana bhakti, which is we're not on that platform, but we're acting on that platform, and then we come to that level. You know, we come to that level of being one, but it's to the degree that we can see Krishna behind everything, and as I said at the start, that could be a meditation for the rest of our life. You know, we read it here in one sentence, but just to really, really take that and to get that understanding is, you know, it's actually a glorious meditation. You know, it's, you know, you know, you could just spend. That's why people would generally, they would go off even to the Himalayas and, you know, meditate all the time just to see the Krishnas and everything. But we're not able to do that so much anymore. You know, it's almost impossible. We get distracted. But nowadays, by following the order of the spiritual master, that will, just by doing that, we become also, you know, able to meditate that way. You know, that Krishna's in everything, and that vision is given to us. You know, it's actually given to us. You know, when we're not able to kind of mechanically get it ourselves, and that takes real humility and real purity to be on that platform. You know. But like all the activities that we do here in the temple, like the Mangal Arati, the going on Harinam, you know, Kirtan, hearing, they all help with that, you know, and Krishna's there in all of these things, you know. Krishna's in every atom, but he's also in our consciousness. But it's just to see Krishna in everything. And that famous verse in Bhagavad Gita, I think it's 6:30, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So, and what's the name of our society? The International Society for Krishna Consciousness. You know, to be conscious of Krishna. You know, that the Prabhupada, like he could have thought about so many other, you know, titles for that, but or he could have said God consciousness, but he said for Krishna consciousness, because it's a more specific meditation in that sense. It's God in his most loving form. Krishna means the all-attractive personality, or Rama, the giver of the greatest amount of pleasure. And there's different translations for Rama as well. Yeah.
When you say that, that reminds me, I was in Sweden for the 50th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in Sweden.
Yeah.
Even scholars were still discussing, is it love of God or is it love for God? They had a debate about that. And Srila Prabhupada was love for God and love of God is exactly the same thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I can, you know, it's kind of like that's the consciousness that you're in, and also how do you call it? It's actually experiential, you know. And there's that other amazing verse, because you're talking about the different scholars, and I'd love to just find it now, but I think it's 9:13 and 9:14. It's where always chanting my glories, always the great souls are always enlightening one another and conversing about me. You know, that's what Krishna talks about. You know, what the devotees are doing. You know, they're always discussing about Krishna, and here's a powerful thing now. It's quite interesting. It's pretty elevated subject matter. I mean, I'm not saying I'm coming close to it, but when Lord Chaitanya was discussing with Ramananda Rai about the highest levels of love of God, Lord Chaitanya, who's God himself, in the most in the form of Radha and Krishna, which is even the most, you know, powerful form, was asking Ramananda Roy about what is love of God. You know, he was asking him. God is asking the devotee. You know.
I think that's where the debate started.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's interesting. And you know, because Ramananda Rai was saying, I am like a puppet. You're asking me these questions, but you're also giving me the answers, you know. But that's the relationship that happens, you know. So, even though the devotee understands he's insignificant, and that's why Krishna wants us back as well, because Krishna's love for us is huge. We can't even imagine. But Krishna's created this whole material situation just because we have left, and he wants us to come back. You know, he's created. So can you imagine the power that Krishna's putting into this? And this is only ekang shenas tato jagat. It's a little particle of Krishna's energy just keeping the material world going. You know, but to us it's like we can't even conceive of it. But so much of that energy he's putting in, and he's created so that we can go back. So Krishna so much wants our love in that sense, you know. And what to speak of us needing Krishna's love in that sense, you know. It's like, but yet these are the I would call them the these are the kind of the real meditations that we have to really partake in, whereas most of the things in the material world are not about these kind of meditations. They're mainly, and people get so distracted, and that's what the second part of this verse is that those who are irresolute, their intelligence is many branched. Do you know? You just get lost. It's you get lost in an illusion. So the word there is resolute. How do we become resolute? Because, you know, we can't just force ourselves to become resolute. You know, we can perform so many austerities. We know people, they go up into the Himalayas and they perform all these massive austerities for a long, long time, and then I think Prabhupada gave this example that, you know, somebody's meditating in the mountains and then he comes down to to the the town at 1 minute, and somebody just touches their cloth and they go, "Whoa, what did you know?" They're supposed to be controlling their senses, but when it's tested, it's not really strong. But and that says that, and sometimes when you perform austerities, your heart becomes hard. You become hard-hearted. But you need to be totally soft-hearted to understand God. You can't. And that this is in a massive. There's so many kind of, you could say, paradoxes going on. But I'm trying to get to that point that, our heart is like iron if it doesn't melt upon hearing Krishna's name, So a lot of the time, our heart is kind of a little bit in that kind of mood, but we need to try to, just to hear more, and when we discuss these kind of areas of, Krishna and the love between the living entity and Krishna, then we will be able to act as a servant of Krishna, we won't have any doubt about it. We won't be affected by our other desires that we have there, because they will be neutralized by it, and we won't have any doubt as being a servant of Krishna. I mean, when we just examine the life of Srila Prabhupada, he's 70 years old. He was told, "Don't go over this place. It's ridiculous. You're 70. What are you doing? You're going over to America. You're 70 years old. You've never left India. You don't know what it's like over there. And plus, the people over there are completely against Dharma. There's no Dharma, and you think that you're going to make a difference, but because he's Krishna's, he's completely empowered, but he's not even doubtful. This is what a lot of the early devotees talked about when they saw Prabhupada at the beginning. They just couldn't believe they were just completely mesmerized, and they still are. I was listening to Jayadvaita Maharaj and Burijan Prabhu, Satyananda Maharaj, Vaisheshika. It was over in Govardhan at the moment. They happened to be over there, and they were reading out different offerings to Prabhupada. But they're still completely mesmerized by coming in touch with us, with a pure devotee. They're still in samadhi, thinking and talking about Prabhupada. That's the effect of a pure devotee. But I'll just conclude here. I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit, but I conclude by saying that one thing which Burijan said, which is very important, is that Prabhupada left us with his books. You can see the whole book stand over there. On the top is the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is like the PhD. Just below that is the Bhagavatam, which is like the MA, and then we have the BA, which you talked about, was the Bhagavad Gita. It goes throughout all three. This knowledge, this gold is coming through all of these three. But by studying these books, we will. This is the great gift. You can be very easily to be sentimental about Srila Prabhupada and just think, "Oh, he was such a great man," and "Oh yes," But no, that's not what he's in. Prabhupada wanted us to read these books and to live by those books, to be examples of what those books are teaching. Because, and here's another thing from Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to change the world. He didn't want this world to go on as it is. I mean, we can't hardly change anything in this world. It's so difficult even to get some, get the rating valuation on this building changed from being too expensive to a little bit less so that we can pay it. It's such a hard thing to do. Or to try to change the world, to get people to stop polluting the world, right? To try to stop all the pollution that goes on. So how do we do that? According to so many of our devotees, Radhanath Swami made a very good point. He said that we have to purify our own hearts before we to stop all the to stop all the pollution that's going on in the world. I mean, the world is being polluted like anything. Look at all the rubbish that we throw out, and it's just collecting more and more and more. the air is polluted, the water is polluted, and this is all because we rejected God. We think we can, we can think we can do better. That's the reason why this is going. So Prabhupada wanted to change all of that. He wasn't. He wanted to stop all of these things going on. So he was totally focused on. This is how magnificent Prabhupada is. But we should, in order to follow, we need to purify ourselves as well, and so that is to make this change. Prabhupada has written all those books so that we could try to become the persons to make the change, and even the best part of that, and one of the most difficult parts of all of that, Prabhupada says, your love for me will be shown by how much you cooperate together to keep this movement going after I've left. Because what naturally or what often comes up is ego. Ego is it just doesn't disappear so easily. It just comes up, and then we have dispute, we have disagreement, we've got and what this verse actually says, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. It's not to say that we're all different, we're individual, we all have different talents, all strengths and so on. But our love for Prabhupada will be shown by how much we can use all those together, and achieve this amazing thing. Even Lord Chaitanya said, and this is God, Radha and Krishna incarnate. He said that I can't achieve all of this by my own. I need the help of everyone. I need everyone's help. So like this, Krishna can empower and help all of us to do this if we, stick by what Prabhupada did. He spent his whole life writing those books. 2 a.m, 4 hours rest. It's there. If we can just set up a program of study, so that we can never leave a day go by. It's like we don't go a day but without eating. So so we need this food as well to keep ourselves, focused as well. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. What's the next part of the program? Damodarastaam, yeah. Thank you for those. We could give out the sheets as well, so that we can recite the prayer. Sorry, thanks. This is the month of Damodar, and that any advancement we make on this month is multiplied by 100 times. So just singing this song is very powerful. Namam Nishvaram Sakchidanandorupam Lasat Kandalam Gokule Brajamana Yashoda Vyalukalatavamanam Param Nishtam Nachan Tato Chachakopya Rutantamohor Netrahayunam Jantam Karam Pujayudmena Shatanka Netram. Mahashasakam Patri Ehankanta Shtita Klaivam Damodaram Bhakti Bhajam. Titralila Bir Ananda Kunde Sargosami Majanta Makyapayanta. Tadiya Shaitageshu Bhakti Chitatvam Punak Mahatastam Sataviti Vande. Varam Deva Mokshana Moksha Patimba Nacham Dene Anvare Shadapiya. Idam Teva Purnata Yandamulala Sadam Nirvana Shami Ashtam Tinanda. Idam Temur Kambojam Achantamila Vitam Kumtahalai Shritam Ratsasagoja. Samritam Vivayatakarane Manasya Virastamara Lakshayava. Namo Deva Damodarastaam Dasida Bhagavad Gita. Everybody's still got taking on the time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Oh yeah, good idea. Sorry. Yeah. Just got a new translation. I'll be right. Does she need this on?
Yeah, this one.
For the
light.
for chanting, yeah. And this one as well.
So we read the translation of the Damodarastaam. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who I, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a string, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he's crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bent not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
Inhabitants of Gokula in full of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of His supreme majesty and opulence, that He is only conquered by devotees securely imbued with intimacy, and is free from all conception of awe and reverence. With great love has removed from our conscience Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not crave to use personal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in my kingdom, nor any other boon which may be attained by executing the 9 processes of proximity. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours of Bhagavad and Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart, for what is the use to me of any other boon besides this?
O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me.
O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool, who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows, and become visible to my eyes.
O Lord Damodara, just as 2 sons of Kuvira, Manigriva, and Nalakurvara were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby child with your rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me. You won't prema bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation.
O Lord Damodara, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent robe which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes.
Hare
One more time, everyone together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. One more time, louder this time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. Go. You're singing. I've heard Divya Shakti singing. You should sing. Come on. Не прямая.
Значит, ты раз согласился, обычно поэтому.
Так.
Да, вот сегодня.
Как я на стримах нашел это место.
Horrible.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Ману просит. Какое именно? Ну, я вот это знаю. Ты будешь играть? Ты можешь любую мелодию спеть, я подберу мелодию.
О, давай. Да. А как она начинается? А ты можешь пониже сделать?
Да.
Харе Кришна.
Начинается онлайн.
Куда? Кришна, Кришна. Ты будешь мне помогать. Давай, начинай.
Press the button on the track. Yeah. No, press just one and leave it. Yes.
Вот это допоем. Потом ниже сделай. Кришна, Кришна. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Jai Jagadish Radha ki jai, Ananta Koch Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Bol.
Читали? Можно? Кто-то шутит. Все странно. Каждую пятницу Гатвы приносит. Каждую пятницу приносит просад. Ну такие сладюшки. Маты же готовят. О. О.
Или печенье будет сохранить чай.
О.
Такой орешек будет в мене обдати ужин. І я даже хочу